Hi citizens, this is Jim with JP Reacts, where you come to start to learn how to think like a politician and find out what politicians mean by what they say and what they don't say. Today we're going to do a little bit something different. We're going to talk about how Democrats are using their newfound power in the Senate. So if you're up for that, stay tuned after this. Okay, so we're going to get back to it. Basically, this video is going to cover something that's not exactly the most exciting topic in the world, but it's the filibuster and basically how the Senate rules work. There has just been announced today a new resolution to share power between Republicans and Democrats. So it's basically something that the Republicans would never have done for the Democrats if it was a reverse situation. So it is somewhat concerning. So this is basically sharing power between 50-50. So still a lot's not going to get through the Senate because of this. And I bring this up because a lot of people don't understand how filibusters work and whatnot. This is outside of the power sharing agreement, but I want to focus specifically on the filibuster for this video because it's been in the news a lot of politicians speak about it. And it's really causing a lot of problems on getting legislation passed at this point. And it affects both Democrats and Republicans. Republicans could have ended the filibuster on Supreme Court nominees in their last time they were in power, but they didn't on legislation. And what that allowed them to do, Mitch McConnell, who was the Senate Majority Leader from Kentucky, allowed him not to limit how much stuff that he would pass from Trump's agenda, because they didn't control the House and the Senate for two of Trump's years. So it's a mixed bag. So it's basically preventing legislation to move forward. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. Senator Schumer, who's the Majority Leader now, is saying that they're going to use budget reconciliation, which is a complicated thing I can get into another time if somebody wants to. But basically, it's just only stuff that's budget related, taxing, spending, or the debt limit can be used for debt reconciliation. But there's a lot of things that need to get done outside of that. And Democrats spent a lot of effort and hyped up the fact that they won the Senate because they have 50 senators that vote with them, plus they have the vice president to break ties. And they're eliminating the filibuster. So what does the filibuster do? Basically, it prevents stuff from moving forward in the Senate. It could be on anything. It could be on voting on the bill, on debate, on even bringing it to the floor. Basically, the Senate runs on something called unanimous consent. A senator will ask for unanimous consent to bring something to the floor, basically saying that nobody's going to object to it. But that's not what routinely happens, especially when Democrats are in power. The Republicans routinely object. So when a lot of people, when they're thinking about the filibuster, they think of something like this.
Saw three of them in his room the day I went up to see him.
Will the senator yield?
No, sir, I will not yield. And this same man, Mr. James Taylor, came down here and offered me a seat in this Senate for the next 20 years if I voted for a dam that he knew and I knew was a fraud. But if I dared to open my mouth against that dam, he promised to break me in two. All right, I got up here and I started to open my mouth, and the long and powerful arm of Mr. James Taylor reached into this sacred chamber and grabbed me by the scruff of the neck.
President, a point of order.
Mr. President.
Senator Payne will state it.
It was I who rose in this chamber to accuse him. He's saying that I was carrying out criminal orders on falsified evidence.
No, Mr. President.
He has imputed to me conduct unworthy a senator, and I demand that he be made to yield the floor.
Mr. President, I did not say that Senator Payne was one of the congressmen in that room.
I was in that room.
Order, gentlemen.
I accuse this man. By his tone, by his careful denials, he is deliberately trying to plant damaging impressions of my conduct. I'll tell you why we were in that room. Because Mr. Taylor, a respected citizen of our state, had brought with him the evidence against this man, and we were urging him to resign. Why? To avoid bringing disgrace upon a clean and honorable state. But he refused.
Mr. President, have I...
There was only one answer to a man like him. The truth, which I rose and gave to this body.
So very, very dramatic, people speaking and talking and arguing. Well, what the filibuster really looks like is this.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that as if in legislative session, the Senate proceed to calendar number 153, H.R. 1327, that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Objection.
Mr. President,
Senator from Kentucky.
reserving the right to object. It has long been my feeling that we need to address our massive debt in this country. We have a $22 trillion debt. We're adding debt at about $1 trillion a year. And therefore, any new spending that we are approaching, any new program that's going to have the longevity of 70, 80 years should be offset by cutting spending that's less valuable. We need to, at the very least, have this debate. I will be offering up an amendment if this bill should come to the floor, but until then, I will object.
Objections heard.
Mr. President.
As you can see, basically, a senator asked for unanimous consent. All somebody has to do is object, and then the Senate needs 60 votes to overcome that objection. And with both parties at 50 votes, that means nothing's going to happen. So this is definitely political malpractice on the Democrat side. It also affects Republicans because the same thing happened in 2016 to 2018 when they controlled the Senate and the House, that nothing can move through. And right now, the main reason why it's not happening on the Democrat side is because there's two Democrats. I'll link to the roll call article. The Kristen Sinema from Arizona. I'm sorry, I'm probably screwing up her last name. And then Joe Manchin from West Virginia have vowed to keep the filibuster. And basically, what's going to end up happening is Democrats are not going to be able to pass big chunks of their agenda that they wanted to get through, that they ran on, and they're going to lose again. They're probably going to lose the Senate, and it's quite possible they lose the House again in the final 2 years of this President Biden's first term. There's only so much a president can do. He's not king or queen, depending on who's in office. They need Congress to pass laws. And if Congress can't get anything through except for budget stuff, it's going to really affect what can happen. So it's pretty stupid, both politically for Democrats to keep this in place. And it was stupid for Republicans because they weren't able to pass a lot of their stuff either. So the filibuster is anti-democratic and it needs to go. Hopefully, by seeing how this filters differently, you can see how this is bad politics for both parties, and it should have been ended a long time ago. But definitely, Democrats who ran on changing things and fixing things in Washington, it's hard to do that when you can't pass stuff through the Senate. So hopefully you gathered some good information from this. If you did, please like this video. In the comments below, tell me what you think. What you think Democrats are, the number one thing Democrats are going to be prevented from doing because of the filibuster rule that is still in the Senate. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. And if you want to hear more or learn more about budget reconciliation, which is a very detailed and boring topic, let me know. I'll be happy to go into the details on that. But until next time, I'll see you around the internet. You have a great day. Bye.